Unity Lutheran Christian Elementary School is a mission project of the Southern Illinois District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. We opened 10 years ago as a mission project. We have classes for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds all day long, kindergarten all day long, all the way up to 8th grade. We're Unity because we started at Unity Lutheran Church. This is the church where we were originally located. It was a great place for us to get started, but we outgrew it quickly. First year we just had the 17 kids, so they would sit on a carpet down in the basement, and then the next year we had 35, so we did that on the carpet, but then we moved up here after that. The first year there was 9 kids in here, and then I think maybe the most there ever was in here was like 15. But this was the first kindergarten room, so this is where it all started. This was our first 3rd grade room. This is where 3rd grade was held from the beginning. So you can imagine having 12 kids in this little room or 15 kids in this little room. It was all packed in. So. The most important thing, foundational to everything, is that they learn about Jesus as their Savior. Everything else springs from that. The whole Christian ethic springs from that faith in Jesus Christ. And then they go from there and continue to grow in faith and continue to grow as a person, discovering what their gifts are and how they can use those gifts to have as many options as possible. That's something that's important to me. So if they can complete their education, get the skills that they need to relate to people, skills like being on time and knowing how to dress properly, knowing how to speak properly, and even knowing how to introduce themselves. Those go a long way to having more and more choices, more and more options. It's really very needed in this community.
There's a lot of shooting around and I don't like it, so I'm ready to go away.
East St. Louis actually has a national reputation for being just a bad place. The poverty level is very high. There are a lot of abandoned properties that have been that way for a long, long time. Burned down houses, boarded up houses. So it's pretty rough in a lot of areas. One of the things that I always think about is when you grow up in that environment, and that's what you see day after day after day, that becomes normal. And when I drive through the area and look at these places, I think that's not normal. That is not normal, and these kids need to know that that's not normal and it's not acceptable.
Some of the students in my classroom just face things I don't know as an adult I would be able to do each and every day. Short examples, one of my first years here, in October we teach how to dial 911 because it's Fire Safety Month. And one of the boys in my class said, "Oh, I know all about that. I had to dial 911 when Mama was getting beaten and she couldn't go to the phone." And that just really hit me. You know, here's a 5-year-old who had to take care of his mom that way. And I'm sure that could happen lots of other places, but a lot of the other kids in the class started nodding their heads and said, "Oh yeah, we had to do that when Uncle was doing this or somebody was trying to knock our door down." And so Unity is unique in that as a community, they understand that kind of danger as being an everyday part of their life.
This is where I grew up, so I'm used to it.
Well, I was born and raised in East St. Louis. I am a product of East St. Louis. I went from elementary school all the way to high school, and I chose to go to college, and then I came back. My community is important. It's going to grow. The environment changes with time. And I really believe that when God comes first back into the schools, then everything will change 100% for everybody in East St. Louis and outside of East St. Louis.
When I lived in East St. Louis, let's see, it wasn't really like what everyone says it is, like kind of bad. It was basically very fun, but now it's kind of getting a little frightening. But when you come into Unity, you're like, okay, I'm safe. Nothing's going to happen. But I think Unity provides a safe environment for you to come inside instead of the outside world.
For me, one of the things that brought me here was the ministry. I wanted to be a part of this ministry in this city. I've done youth ministry in the past, and one of the things I wanted to do was to the kids that are not church. I wanted to bridge that gap between Unity Lutheran Church and our school. And so that's kind of my goal, is to help the students who are not church to participate with us. And that's what ministry is about, you know. The Great Commission reminds us to go and make disciples of all nations. And then in that, Jesus reminded us that we should teach and baptize our students. And here at Unity, we teach our students and we also baptize our students. And then in return, our students themselves go out and teach it to their friends, because they're the ones that will shape the city to become what it will be in the future. So I feel that our school is kind of, you know, walking in that step, you know, of being Christ-like to our students.
Here at Unity, our students come out of an environment that really can easily beat a family down, and they get to come to Unity in a safe, secure environment. And a lot of our students don't hear about Christ on a regular basis. They don't attend church. So I think our daily affirmation really gives them an opportunity to be secure in their faith. And then they take that back home and really teach their parents about that. And then the family is then brought into a relationship with Christ because of their experience.
Being raised here in East St. Louis, I've had an opportunity to kind of evaluate what's missing when I look out at other children. And one of the things that I found out that's missing in their lives is a relationship with the Lord. So in the Belong to Jesus time, it cultivates a relationship between that child and his or her Creator. And so that is a very important part of this school and what it has to offer that child for a lifetime. Because that relationship between the child and his or her Creator is for a lifetime.
My favorite part of the day is Belong to Jesus.
Belong to Jesus. That's the time when we worship. Everybody sits down. We worship Jesus, and we listen to Bible stories and sing songs and praise Him.
I think the stories that she comes home and tells me about of things that take place during Belong to Jesus, some of them I just kind of smile on the inside like, oh, she's paying attention. Because whether she knows it or not, she repeats things that she's being taught in Belong to Jesus. And I know that that's where it's coming from. So I do think that the Belong to Jesus portion of the day is very crucial, and I think that it's played a huge part on her growth and her development.
Well, even at lunch, we learn about Jesus. Most of the conversations about, what did you learn to Belong to Jesus and different things like that. And with Belong to Jesus in the evening, we get to give our point of view of what we learned in the morning to our teacher, and he can help us with our problems and different things like that. So it's basically counseling and Belong to Jesus put together. So with that, we basically get to share what we learned about Jesus.
He died on the cross for our sins because He loved us.
Some of my teachers helped me learn about Jesus to help me how to treat people, how to care for people.
He's a person that sees up here.
I think the stuff that I am getting right now as I'm learning, I think that it's going to help me a whole lot when I go to high school. You know, like to learn, be more focused, and be active in the classroom.
Well, with Unity, they showed me that everyone doesn't have everything they need. So I talked to Mr. Miller actually, and he and my family helped me to find shelters in East St. Louis, and I gave them money. It started off with just $75, and it went up to around $1,000 each. So with Unity's help and God in my family, I knew that I needed to help local shelters in East St. Louis.
Really, when I grow up, I want to be like professional. So I think it's teaching me how to do other stuff. And like if you have to make a portfolio, I'll know what it is so I can make it.
I think unity is important, especially in a community like East St. Louis, because it's different than the other choices that the students have of schools to go to. There's public schools and there's lots of them, but unity is different because we really care about the kids. I do know when kids come into us from the other schools, sometimes even the parents are surprised that they get to actually come and meet the teacher, and the teacher will talk to them, and they know the students' names, and the students seem to really enjoy having that one-on-one attention.
For some of the students, if they just go to a public school, it's like the teachers just won't really care what the student gets. They'll just pass them right on. So here, we're like, no, you're gonna learn this stuff before you go anywhere. They're not gonna just kind of try and hold you back, but they want you to get an education, and they are dedicated to doing it.
The children. 90% of them come from East St. Louis elementary schools, and they come into this building. Once they enter this building and they've been here and they learn the routine, you can see the change. You can see the growth. You can see that, hey, I don't have to bully. I don't have to fight. I can pray with you. I can say I'm sorry, and it's okay. The 8th graders, you see them ready to go on. And most of them go on, but with the background and the footwork and the leg work that we have given them, they will be successful. Because they know that if there's a problem, Jesus is the answer.
Well, I had the benefit of a Lutheran education my whole life, from kindergarten all the way through my college years. It's unique in that God and your relationship with Him is interwoven in everything you learn about. I feel it's really important for the children here at Unity to experience that, because all they know is the community of East St. Louis. And if we can give them that appreciation of God's creation, of language and communication skills, that just gives them that much of a richer life now and to look forward to in their future.
I think our teachers are special because I don't think just anyone could come into this situation and teach. A lot of our students come and out of different environments, and you never know what they've gone through before they get here. And sometimes it just takes a lot of love and breaking down those walls before you ever get to really teaching them the academics. And our teachers are willing to go the extra mile to make sure that our kids know about Christ, know that they're loved and cared for. And we work well together as a team, and they're willing to give back to these students and families.
We all believe in helping one another when they're in need, like the teachers did with me, because like recently my father just passed away back in December. So the teachers were like very focused on like, we gotta help this kid, because this is a hard time for him, and I truly thank them for like actually helping me.
Well, in my work, I feel like I have a firm foundation, a solid footing in two different worlds. And a lot of times those two worlds don't have anything to do with each other. So the people who live a middle class, upper middle class lifestyle have nothing to do with people like in East St. Louis who are low income poverty. One of my functions, or what I do, is I bridge the gap between those two worlds. I help our donors to see that there is a great need here, and that what they are able to contribute is going to make a difference. But for our donors, I feel a great responsibility to them to protect their gifts as an investment and make sure that we do with that investment what we say we're doing. And so I'm constantly communicating with those donors and letting them know how the kids are being impacted, how our school is growing, our successes, so that they know for sure that what they want to have happen is actually happening.
We can most affect change by doing small things in big ways. By changing one child's life, that can impact that family. If that family is impacted, it can impact the neighborhood. The neighborhood is impacted, it can affect the whole community. And you've heard many of the students say they want to improve their community. Most of the families who live in this area want there to be change, want to make improvements. But that can only happen with a lot of little steps. And by helping unity build and grow in this community, that is going to impact the community in the long run, and change will happen.
Everybody drives right by East St. Louis. Investing in unity is investing in that city, because that's who we work with. We work with the kids in the city, we work with the parents in the city, we work with the people in the city. And the students in the city are children who are eager to learn. They're eager to be successful. They want to be the doctors, they want to be the lawyers, they want to be the judges, they want to be the pastors and future teachers. And so investing in them is investing in their future.
There's many reasons why my wife and I have chosen to donate financially to Unity. Primarily because it is bringing the Word of God to the children here in East St. Louis. It's also the best place that we think of for our funds because of knowing where it's going. We see the results of our donations, and we know that it's being well spent.
In the Bible, we get a phrase, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Well, I want you to know that there are some good things coming out of East St. Louis, and Unity Lutheran Elementary School is one of those good things. I believe we're on the uprise. I believe that there are more good things that are going to come out of quote-unquote Nazareth, okay?
I really think that East St. Louis, we have a long way to go. The reputation that we have is like totally bad, you know what I mean? Just to be flat, but it is some good people and some good things happening in our city. And Unity is definitely one of the best things that's happening to this city, you know what I mean? Especially for us with the kids. As a man who's been in this community all my life, I feel like it starts with the kids, you know what I mean? And so for Unity to come here and give our kids this foundation, I think it's gonna go a long way for the future of East St. Louis.